with the social media updates that you need to know. It is the first day of May. Welcome to a new month, everybody. We're so excited to get going and learn all about some fun new strategic updates that Ashley's got for us today.
Absolutely. All right, we're set up. We're ready to go. Thank you for joining me today, Alexis. Let's get right into it. So I'm going to make sure my slides are advancing. Perfect. Really quick, we're going to start with what we'll cover today, just so that everyone knows what you're jumping into here. I know we do these live strategy sessions every month, but for anyone who's new, we will be going over actionable content creation tips that Instagram and TikTok have shared either publicly or privately with us, so that we'll be sharing our inside knowledge there. We'll also be talking about the latest social media updates you need to know about. So this won't be a comprehensive, like every little update that there's ever been over the last month. It's going to be more the big things that I think you should know and how that's going to impact your strategy. And then a new segment today, at the very end, I'm going to share 4 trending video types that you can try out yourself. And we'll talk through what these are, how to do it. Hopefully they'll be really easy videos. But I'm interested to see if that's helpful for anybody if you guys like that segment. So let me know in the comments if you're going to stick around to see that at the end. And as a content idea for today, because I know people are always like, oh, I never know what to post about. Well, here you go. Here's an idea right away. If you stick around for this live, you can share your top learning from today's session on LinkedIn. And that's a post that's easy to share, or you can make a quick video, share it to your story, anything there. You're welcome to do that. And we would love if you would tag us, because we love to hear what you're finding valuable about this. And that's also something easy for you to share today on your socials as well. For anyone who doesn't know, super quick overview, we're Team Social Coach. Our platform is designed to make social selling simple for both individuals and enterprise teams. We have hundreds of video scripts. We do the editing for you with your videos. And then we also automate content scheduling and post to your social channels automatically. Plus, we have a bunch more for enterprise. We have compliance built in, campaign scheduling, all of that. So if you're asking, who are we and why do we know about social? It's because we live this every single day.
Every day.
Every single day. Like poor Alexis is in the trenches with Facebook every day. I do not envy you, because Meta is my worst nightmare.
We fight daily.
We do, but we're fighting a good fight.
Amen.
So getting right into TikTok's top tips. So these are not necessarily new, but it's always great to reiterate when TikTok confirms something that we've already known. We just like to talk about that with our audience here and just say, hey, you probably already know this, but good things to remember. Number one being they are really focused on people who know their niche. So luckily for most of our audience, your industry being in mortgage or real estate, that is already kind of a niche that you are falling into. So that's going to happen pretty naturally for your content. But what we're seeing is when people can become subject matter experts for their audience, that is really helping them see exponential growth, or, maybe it's not always right away, but once you find that audience, you're seeing good engagement, high retention, because when you're speaking directly to people about a very specific either type of loan or type of audience, or you're able to kind of provide a very specific way of approaching the subject matter, that really resonates with people. And they understand, hey, I know why I'm following this person. I know what they're always talking about, and I know why I'm going to tell other people to come follow them, or why I'm here. So more than just being, the loan officer, you want to figure out a way to make yourself stand out, whether that's a location, whether that's, even if you're, hey, I'm the New Jersey loan officer, what makes you stand out from someone else who is a New Jersey loan officer? Well, maybe you go and you have a fun series where you show off donut places or coffee joints, and that makes me more likely to follow you than the other person. So this is just a reminder. If you have questions about finding your niche, let me know in the comments and we'll talk about it. But if you can figure out ways to really drill down on your content in ways that people find valuable and also fun or entertaining, that's a great way. And we talk about content series all the time. Our boot camp actually is starting up again next week. So if anyone wants the link to that, you can comment boot camp. And we can get you an invite to that. It's a 4-week long session, and we go over content series, finding your niche, a couple of these topics to help you really stand out. Second point, quality over quantity. So this sounds really basic, but it was really interesting to hear how much TikTok really harps down on creators saying your lighting is so important. Good lighting. If you don't have good lighting, people will scroll right away. And if you're losing people in those first few seconds just because they don't like the quality of the video, that's one of the number one ways we're seeing people not hit the view numbers that they want, is because they're just not getting the watch time. And it's because your lighting, immediately when someone sees the video, they go, no, thank you, and they scroll. So if you're going to fix one thing, fix your lighting. Second thing would be your audio, making sure that it's clear, crisp. It doesn't have to be professional microphone level, but if you have background noise or wind, if you're outside, that's just not the greatest experience. And that can also get people to scroll really quick. And then lastly, that hook. So TikTok talks a lot about the first 5 seconds of your video being really crucial. So making sure you're starting out with something that makes people want to stick around. Don't waste that time introducing yourself. Don't, take too long to get to your point. Even if you're just speaking kind of slowly, we've learned that that can kind of just cause people to not have the patience to stick around. So you really want to get to the point quick. In one sentence, you're going to tell them why they should stick around, what the video is going to be about. If you can add text on screen, that's even better. But all of those things are going to help extend that initial watch time. And then that's where you're going to see your views getting above, 100, 200. You're going to start seeing, oh, people stuck around and watched 10 seconds of my video, and that one hit 600, 700 people. And that's how you can start really improving your videos. And then the last tip, which hopefully is kind of irrelevant for most of our Video Catalyst users here, is to tighten up your editing. So that's, cutting out your pauses, cutting out filler words. If you make mistakes, really tightening it up and giving people visually something to pay attention to. So that's why we love with Video Catalyst, we add the captions, we cut out your mistakes for you, we add stock footage and extra, camera zooms and fun things. We do all of that to help keep people engaged with your video longer, while also making you look more polished. So you don't have to worry about, oh no, I messed up halfway through. Do I have to re-record this? Not at all. You send it our way. Our editors take care of it. But for anyone who's not using Video Catalyst, doesn't have someone to do it for you, definitely make sure your pauses are what are getting cutting out. That's one of the biggest things I see people. The millennial pause is what they call when you take a second when you hit start on the video, right? Alexis, you've seen this, right? The millennial pause. Oh, yeah. So when you hit record and you take a second and then you go, okay, hi, everyone, right? That's your initial instinct. You take a breath. That is a millennial pause, and Gen Z, they're gone already. It's so crazy. So when you are editing your own videos, make sure you're cutting out that initial breath that you're taking so that you're starting with no pause in the video whatsoever. And if you're worried about it, send it to our editors, Video Catalyst. We take care of it for you. You don't have to worry about messing up and spending hours getting every little pause out of there, because we've got it. So yeah, those are TikTok tips. If anyone has questions, let me know. We're also going to move over to Instagram, because Adam Mosseri has been giving a lot of advice. He always gives lots of advice. But the most recent, and again, none of this is going to sound revolutionary, but it's great confirmation that you're doing the right thing in the right direction. So prioritizing short form shareable content. What that means is basically video content or carousels or anything that really, oh, why would I send this to somebody else? I think that's a great way when you're creating videos or creating content in general, is to sit there and say, if I were someone watching this, would I send this to someone or not? And the best way I found to kind of prompt that shareability is to ask for it, is to remind people, hey, send this to someone who lives in New Jersey and needs to know about this first-time homebuyer program. Okay, so maybe I don't live in New Jersey and maybe I'm not looking to buy a home, but I might have a friend who does. And now I wouldn't have thought about, but before I would have been like, oh, this doesn't apply to me. But now that you've said, hey, if you know anyone in New Jersey looking to buy a home, they need to hear about this, and then you tell me what's going on, immediately I've thought of somebody and I'm like, oh, well, I don't know someone in New Jersey, but I know someone in New York, and like I should send them this and see if there's any programs in New York for them. Or I should tell them to follow up with this loan officer and ask them about it. That's going to help that shareability happen for you. So don't be hesitant to ask for it in your call to action. And that call to action, you don't have to wait till the end. You can also do it at the beginning. So especially when you're speaking about specific products or specific things that speak to a very hyper niche audience, start with that. And yeah, you might get lower views on it overall, but hopefully if you're targeting the right audience, you'll get more engagement on it, because people know, oh, you're speaking to me, or maybe it's not me, but it's someone I know, and I'm going to send this to them instead. So great thing to be thinking about as you're creating video content. Another thing that is important to know, most content is now being shared privately. So it's interesting because we've seen a big shift in behavior, right? A lot of content you're going to see shared on the main feed, but then when people are sending it to each other, they're sending it in DMs. They're sending it via text message saying, hey, check this out. And they're posting it on their own story. But typically, that's just the behavior is shifting from a more public facing way of communicating and resharing to privately. So what's interesting is you might see, okay, my video got a lot of shares. I don't know where that's going. It's likely because people are DMing it, which is direct messaging it to each other. They're texting it to their friends. Maybe they're sharing to their story, right? And sharing to their audience. But a lot of that is just more temporary sharing. So it's all good and it's all getting you more exposure. But if you're wondering, you're like, okay, I don't, people said it says people are sharing it, but I don't ever see where it's going. Usually it's in the private side of things. And that's just something I've seen behaviorally shift. So I wanted to point that out. But I'm curious if that's why Instagram is about to introduce this new feature. It's a repost tab. So if you're on TikTok, you'll know that you can repost a video and then that will show up in other people's feeds that you're friends with. So if Alexis reposts a video on TikTok, I might see it in my feed and it'll say Alexis reposted this. So that means it's not a video that Alexis made or shared or whatever, but she saw it, thought it was funny or fun for whatever reason, and she decided to reshare. And then now I'm seeing it on my feed because they're like, well, you two like similar things. Maybe you'll like to see what Alexis is reposting. So that's what a repost is on TikTok. And basically, Instagram is just copying that. So we've talked before about how Instagram kind of just copies TikTok at this point. They're kind of just two steps behind and doing their best to kind of play catch up. So I think this is just that. They're just introducing a feature that TikTok already has. But I am curious to see how that will impact Instagram and how that will impact people resharing content instead of feeling like they need to remake it. Because I think what we see a lot of is like, oh, if you see a really good video and you need to get that same message to your own audience, you can just remake the video yourself, which I would still advise. But in a lot of ways, this is also a way where you can be reposting things so that your audience can see either, maybe your referral partners are posting content or maybe the brand account is posting content and you can be resharing that without it living on your main feed and confusing people of, oh my gosh, they're sharing a video, but it's someone else. Is this their account still or who is this? The repost is a great way to kind of shuffle that all over.
Ashley, I'm wondering if that's going to take away from some of the posting to stories because that's what we see a lot. We like something instead of, screenshotting and posting it ourselves. We just repost it to stories. So I'm interested to see if that's going to remove some of that traffic to stories that we've seen that's been really, really popular.
I agree. I think it definitely could cut down on some of that. I think people are still going to reshare memes and videos that they find
Right.
funny and definitely like events or things that are highly relevant to them in that 24-hour period, right? Because stories are where you post something and it goes away after 24 hours. So
Right.
there's really no harm, right, in posting anything because after 24 hours, it disappears anyway.
Yeah.
But I do think that the repost will change a little bit of that behavior of you're going to be thoughtful, right? You're not just going to repost every single video you see because now it's living on your profile. So you want to be thoughtful, but maybe you're like, oh, my brand account for my company posted a really good mortgage tip. I'm going to reshare. I'm going to repost it to help give them more reach. And now it lives under my profile. And that's content that I didn't have to create, but it's still under this other tab. So I do agree with you. I think it might cut down some of that reposting and resharing, but I also think it'll just shift over. And honestly, we'll see. Because the thing with TikTok is when you repost, it goes right into your main feed anyway. I'm curious to see if they're going to actually surface up those reposts to people because Instagram is not quite as good at I don't even know how to explain it. TikTok is so hyper personalized, and that's what really works about it. Instagram, they still care a lot about who you're connected with, right? So the people you follow still really matters. On TikTok, that doesn't really matter. So in some ways, I could see them leveraging this to be like, we know who you follow. We know who you message the most. We know who you're commenting back and forth with all the time. Here are the videos that we think you'll care about from those people. So maybe this could be a really good feature. But in some ways, I'm also like, it just depends on how they roll it out. So stay tuned. That'll be super interesting to see. But then the last update we've gotten from Adam Mosseri, he was in this podcast interview, and they talked a lot about the algorithm, and they talked about how the algorithm updates every single day, which maybe will freak people out, but I'm like, I knew this 100%. Like the algorithm has tiny little micro shifts every single day. And when people blame the algorithm of like, oh, the algorithm hates me, my videos aren't doing well, to be honest, it's hard, the hard truth. And I'm going to hold your hand as I say this. It's not the algorithm. It's people. It's people not watching and not sticking around. And so then the algorithm sees, oh, people are only watching 2 seconds of this video and no one's engaging with it. I'm not really going to push this to people. So not here to be mean. It's just a good lesson of like, okay, if no one's watching this, why? Is my lighting good? Is my energy good? Did I start with a good hook? Okay. Maybe if I didn't, I'm going to improve those things. And now, okay, that one got a little bit more reach. People are sticking around longer. And then you can kind of work your way to figuring out how do I get them to wait until the very end of that video. And maybe you start posting shorter videos to begin with, right? 5, 10, 15-second videos. Those will definitely get your watch time higher. And then you can kind of go from there and see what happens. But the thing that I found more interesting than the algorithm itself was Adam talking about how Instagram is making search engines, Instagram is making content more discoverable for search engines. So the reason this matters is because if you're on Google and someone Googles, Florida homebuyer tips, your video from Instagram could surface. And TikTok is already doing this. So this just proves to me the value of video is if you have video content on any of these platforms, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, even all of them, if you put your keywords in your captions and your video and you're speaking about this topic, the algorithm and the social media websites will scrape that and say, okay, we hear you talking about these keywords. And now if someone's Googling it, we're going to start surfacing that as an answer because they're learning that people like to get answers in a quick video that's really hyper specific to what they want. No one wants to sit through a 20-minute video on YouTube now about like, let me go through all the things. They're like, no. I want to know how much down payment do I need in this specific city for my income level or whatever it is. That if you can be using your content to hit those niche audiences and those niche keywords, you will be the one surfacing on the search platforms and within the app itself because they're also optimizing around this. So definitely finding those search terms, those topics, those really, really niche areas where you're speaking to a very specific type of demographic. Definitely make sure you're, fair housing and all of that, you're covering all your bases. But if you can really be drilling down and not just giving generic tips about, hey, make sure you don't need 20% for your down payment. Instead, if you could go, here's how this FHA program can save you $10,000 up front, that's where people are going to be like, oh, okay, let me tune in. I want to know that. So let me know what questions people have there. I know that's kind of a big overview on a lot of broad topics, but it's super fascinating. And this is a lot of what we go into more in depth on bootcamp, which again starts next week on Wednesday.
Yeah.
But yeah, we talk about a lot of this and it's a great forum for getting to talk with me more one-on-one about a lot of these things. But okay, so that was like our top tips from TikTok, Instagram. If you're jumping on the live and you missed it, we'll put this on YouTube. You can go recap. Don't worry about it. But let's get quickly into some of the major platform updates that I want to make sure everyone knows about. So number one, and this is the big one, Instagram did release their new video editing app. So it's called Edits. Basically, this is meant to be a CapCut competitor. So the best things I'm going to mention about this are the green screen effect is very cool that you can use. So you can put a green screen of any, screenshot or video. So you'd have to record it on your phone and then put it behind you in the green screen. But then you can be speaking in front of it and be pointing to either an article or a graph or whatever it is behind you. Now, I'll tell you, Video Catalyst, we do this too. We can do this for you. But as someone who records my own videos as well, I've learned that sometimes it's nice to be able to see what's happening behind you while you're recording the video. And that is something we can do it for you after the fact. So if you don't want to worry about it all, send it to our team. Just say, hey, green screen this in behind me. Great. But if you're someone who actually wants to be pointing to the graphs and kind of illustrating your point, this could be a really good feature for you to use. And then you can export it, my favorite thing, with no watermark. So if anyone knows, if you try to edit now in TikTok, they will make you post the video to be able to download it without the watermark. And as we know, hopefully from previous videos and things I've shared, watermarks are going to get your content suppressed. So if it has a TikTok logo on it, if it has a CapCut logo on it, the other platforms don't like that. They're going to take that and they're going to not show that video to as many people. So you want to make sure you're posting a clean version, which is why, again, with Video Catalyst, we don't have any watermarks. It makes it really easy. And we will post it to all of the platforms with no watermark for you. So that's really easy. If you, however, are like, oh, I kind of want to do a rough cut of my own video, or I kind of want to play around with some things, this is where the Edits app can be helpful. And then you can always send us your version and have us polish it up for you. Or you can just use Social Coach to automatically post that everywhere without having to go manually post it to Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. Because trust me, I know I've been there and it takes hours. That's just so not worth it.
Too much.
Wait,
It's too much.
So much better to just do it in one place and have it just shoot out to all the different places for you.
Yep.
And then the last thing that I think is notable about the Edits app, and this one is actually very interesting, is they have insights inside the app. And this is where I kind of want to learn a little bit more about this. And I've definitely been playing around, and I'll come back in the future if I have more high quality learnings for you guys. But they have the analytics in the app itself. And that's super interesting because I'm curious to see if they're going to say, like, hey, these templates are performing really well, or hey, use this trending audio. And then I think it's also going to take your own content and help you kind of see, oh, this is performing well, this is not. So it's interesting because most of the platforms, right, the analytics live in the social part of the app, right, the Instagram app. This is separate. So I'm curious to see how those insights are going to differ from the ones inside the Instagram app and kind of learn a little bit more about that. So curious to see whoever wants to test out with me. I've recently got it and I am working through it. So let me know what questions you have there. But we'll definitely come back with more insights on that because it seems really interesting to me that they have it in two places and that could be confusing. So the difference in those analytics is going to be really key. And then this is not out yet, but I did want to really talk about it. So Alexis, we're about to have a debate about this because they're introducing something called locked content. And basically what this is you post a reel or a post, but it's hidden. So people can see you've posted something, but they can't see what you've posted. And the only way for them to unlock that content is to enter a secret code that you can give them in a lot of different ways. You could say, DM me to get this code. You could say, hey, it's the first hashtag of this post. It could be, hey, if you have to sign up for my email newsletter and I'll email you the code. There's a lot of different ways to use this. But I'm just hesitant about this. And I'm curious to see what your initial thoughts are before I get into my whole like tirade.
Well, for me, there's already subscription for content creators on Instagram where you can pay to be a part of their subscription and you get specific content that they don't post everyone else. There's a creator that I follow that I have been following intently to find out something specific, and he has been putting things on his subscription. And it's driving me bananas, but I'm not going to pay for that, for that one little piece of information that I know is going to come out in 30 days. So we as a society don't want to do more than what we have to do. Like, as we know, our attention span, you want to get them in the first 4 seconds in a video. These people are not going to DM you. They're not going to go back and have to look at I just really think you need to make it very apparent as to what the code is or whatever it is to get into this, in order for it to be useful.
Agreed. I think my biggest thing is this is going to be big for huge brands, right? Like if you're a giant
Right.
brand and you're trying to say, hey, join our newsletter and we'll give you this secret code and you'll get a sneak peek at our next launch. Yeah, okay. I have the brand loyalty. I have the like, ooh, okay, I want to
Right.
know. Sure, I'll sign up for the newsletter. Great. But for small creators who are still building that, who are still working up to getting to that level of exclusivity, to me, this is only going to be another barrier of like, oh, I have to do something else to see this thing. And I don't even really know what this thing is. And why do I care? So I think my advice for especially smaller creators, even when this comes out, I wouldn't mess with it too much. Like if you want to try one or two things where you share like a first time home buyer guide, or if you want to only have this content be for your referral partners and not other agents or other people who follow you, maybe that's how you handle this. But I think in some ways it kind of makes it feel secretive. It makes it feel like, oh, like what can I not see? And then it gets a little annoying, even like to me personally. I'm like, the fact that you're gatekeeping it is kind of the term people use. I don't know. Again, for big brands, big followings, it does make sense. There's already
Yeah.
enough hype garnered there that it's like, I'm still not going to love it. Honestly, as a user, I'm going to be a little like, can I not just see, like, why do I have to go through these extra hoops and steps? But I get it. It's marketing, right? Like as a marketer, I know why they're doing it. But as a creator and more of like a small account, I don't know that I would really truly leverage this unless you're maybe like a big brand, again, trying to announce something and get some hype and get people to subscribe to a newsletter or to take another action. Maybe then, but even then, I don't know.
I think it almost reminds me of like a pre-sale code for an
Mhm.
exclusive list. Like I have a daughter, and there is a specific brand that does really, really great um, pajamas, but you have to be on an exclusive Facebook page in order to get the exclusive code so that you can go to the exclusive sale. So
Oh
it
my God.
feels like sometimes I'm like, it's not worth it today. It's not worth it. So I'm not going to deal with that today. So
Yeah.
I do see that a lot. Yeah.
I think
Even
that's
for
it.
larger brands.
If you're going to segment, like if you have different audiences you're trying to speak to, or if you're trying to, let's say you're running a first time home buyer seminar and you want to post a video just to that cohort and give them the code, like that works. But at the same time, I think that's my thing of it's another step. And if
Yep.
you're already worried, like, hey, are people even seeing my content? You don't then want to be like, maybe
No.
they're seeing it and they just didn't know what the code was. Like, even if you email them the code and you tell them, they still may not make that
No.
connection if they're just organically finding that on by scrolling. They might be like, oh, that's weird, this is all blurry, why can't I see it? So it's just one of those things that, again, I'm like, usually we say to jump on the new features because Instagram and the social media platforms definitely give you a boost when you're trying out their new things. They like to see, hey, you're engaging with this, so we'll like push your stuff out more. But this is just one where I'm a little bit more like, be cautious about it because you don't want to frustrate your audience and frustrate yourself by being like, oh, I made this whole thing and no one's even unlocked it, no one's doing anything with it. That's where I'd just be a little thoughtful about it. Plus,
Absolutely.
it reminds me of this feature, and this feature kind of, it hasn't died, like they haven't taken it away, but I never see anyone using this. And it's on stories, and it's a sticker called the reveal sticker. And so basically what it does is you can put, you know, a blurred photo or blurred video, and then you put this sticker on top and you can ask a question like, where do you think I am right now? And then someone has to DM you their answer before they can see the reveal of it. But to me, I never ever used this. Like, even if I see people use it, I'm like, I don't care. Either you'll tell me like 2 stories from now, after you've done this, or I'm going to have to message you, but then I'm going to get the answer. And then you just have this random DM and then you're trying to respond to me, but it's like we both know I already know the answer. So I think for larger creators, larger brands, like where they're not going to be responding to you. And so it's fine to just kind of throw a DM out there. That's one thing. But for a lot of the smaller creators, this is just, again, like another step, kind of feels engagement bait like it doesn't feel genuine. You're kind of like, you're just trying to get me to DM you. And I don't really want to do that. So I'm just going to skip it altogether rather than fall for this. So yeah, that's my little soapbox rant about the new features coming out. And I would love if people disagree with me, feel free. Or if you feel like there's a use case or you're curious about like, well, what if I did it this way? Please let me know in the comments because I would love to talk it through. But this is just my personal opinion, kind of watching some of these other features that have been kind of hyped up to be something, and then the behavior of how people actually go about using them turns out very differently. And that's where my hypothesis with that one is I don't know that one's going to go as far. Repost, that one's going to do well. This one, not so much. But anyway, we'll move on quickly. So getting into LinkedIn, there was only one major LinkedIn update, which is that you can now link your Zoom directly to a LinkedIn Live. So if you're someone who's hosting webinars, or if you're doing live events, or if you're trying to do homebuyer seminars or anything like that, this is just great because it makes it easier for you. And then just in case you missed it last month, we also mentioned that they added a Calendly integration. So if you are a premium LinkedIn user, you can now have Calendly on your profile to make it really easy to book that meeting right away and directly from there. So that could be really great if you're sharing content on LinkedIn. And, we definitely recommend putting your Calendly in your link in bio on other platforms too. And then your call to action when you're doing these videos is if you have like a big deep dive on a really specific program, you can say, hey, if you want to qualify or if you want to know more about this, you can book 15 minutes with me and we'll walk through it together. And I'd be happy to do that. Free consultation. Don't worry about it. So that's just a great call to action step. And I wanted to make sure that was highlighted for anyone who didn't know. And then lastly, other platforms, X is also playing the catch-up game. So I just always laugh because I'm like, TikTok leads the way, and then Instagram follows, and then all the other platforms, YouTube and to X and all the other ones, they kind of are like, oh, I guess we should be doing that too. So X now has video reactions and replies. So TikTok does this, Instagram does this, where if someone comments on your post or your video, you can then reply to that comment with another video. So not crazy anything new, but like, hey, if you love doing that, X, you are now allowed to do that. That's awesome. And then the other last thing I just thought was notable, no information on this other than this, but OpenAI, so the people who created ChatGPT, they say that they are potentially launching a new social media app. which I just thought, that's fascinating. And I have no information on it other than that. But I just wanted to get that on people's radars, and I'm curious. The one thing I'll remind everyone, and that I always like to say, is you don't have to bandwagon on every single app that pops up
Mm,
for social media. I mean, look at, Instagram Threads was kind of a Twitter offshoot, right? And it's fine, it does great, but it hasn't gotten, I think, the adoption that they maybe hoped it would have. And then I think TikTok has talked about doing like their notes app that they're now shutting down. So I'm like, sometimes these platforms, they try to find these other ways of getting people to engage,
right.
but you don't have to jump on it, because odds are it, I mean, I'm not going to say odds are it won't play out, but I'm like, there's specific reasons for specific platforms. And the main ones have the history of everyone being there. People have accounts, the behavior's ingrained. They're not going to jump ship super quickly or without a lot of prompting. And getting people onto these new apps is always a slow and arduous process. So sometimes being an early adopter, and if you're that person who's like, hey, I just want to try it out, it sounds fun, that can be great. You can get a lot of attention and get more followers because there aren't as many creators over there. So heads up, if this comes and you're that person, maybe pay attention and go give it a try, and maybe even just repost a lot of the content you're already making, because that's a great way to just see. But don't freak out if you see suddenly that there's this brand new app and you're feeling like, oh my gosh, what is this and how do I do it? A, we're here and we'll help walk you through it. And B, that's just always my warning, is like, they say it's going to be big, and then it's fun to actually sit back and see how it really plays out.
Watch it play out. Yeah,
Yeah.
no. I wonder if that's in reaction to possibly losing TikTok again at some point.
Potentially. So the ban has been extended by another 75 days.
Okay.
So it's
Right.
kind of this thing where I think they're just going to keep kicking this can down the
I
road
agree.
until they figure something out, because we all understand at this point that TikTok has so much potential for growth, for revenue. So many people are making money through it. It's bringing a lot of money into different businesses and small businesses. So
Yep.
I really don't think they're going to let it
No.
be
I
fully banned.
hope not.
I think they're just waiting to find the right buyer, and I think the legislation is just gonna keep being like, pushing it out until we have some sort of agreement and
The
deal
right
worked out.
situation. Right.
Yeah. So as we've said, like, don't worry about it. TikTok is a great place to be posting. I would not, don't slow down, don't give up. Like, if you're not on TikTok, I would still go over there and keep posting your content, because it's just one of the best platforms for exponential growth. Like, the ability to reach people in such a specific hyper niche, and also to just get blasted out to new people and with every piece of content you post, it's unmatched. None of the other platforms can do this, because they're all still very tied to the, like, here's who you follow, and so we think that you need to see their content even if it's not really relevant to you. TikTok hasn't nailed where it's more like, we're going to show you content that you care about regardless of who posted it. So it's
Right.
just really, really different approach. And that's why I'm always like, if you are posting videos or you're posting content anywhere else, just go put it on TikTok. And if it flops, it flops. But then you can start seeing. And I think there are different ways to approach the different platforms. And again, we talk about this a lot in boot camp. But it's just worth it. It's just always worth experimenting with TikTok, because you never know what could pop off. And it's just so much fun when we get to see those people who are like, oh my gosh, I randomly had a video just go crazy. And then that's views and that's attention, and that's what you want. Okay. And then for anyone who wants other platform updates, there's been a lot of major platform updates in the last few months. We covered them in previous strategy sessions. So those are all on our YouTube channel if you want to find them. We talked a lot about like some of the growth tips that Instagram has kind of revealed about the way that they distribute videos. So definitely go check out the last few sessions, because there's a lot of learnings in there. And the even if the updates themselves aren't as recent, if you're like, oh well, this feels like old news because it was a month or two ago, it's still features in the platform that you should know about. And we just talk a lot about how you can leverage those, how you can use them. So still helpful information. Would go back and find that if you're interested at all. And then I'm actually going to throw this over to you, Alexis, really quickly, because this is our new feature, my video
Yeah,
page. And I just figured with platform updates, this was very thematically relevant. So if you want to
absolutely.
give us a quick overview of my video pages, and then we'll get into those trending videos that I talked about at the beginning.
Yeah, so a quick overview of our new feature, Social Coach's new feature, My Video Page, or MVP. It is basically a one-to-one way for you to either text, email, or embed a link to a video that is located on a specific page. And it is a great way to text that video out. I know for a lot of us, we're like, okay, I can't attach this email in this I can't attach this video to this email. So what am I supposed to do? Well, instead of doing that, instead of attaching it, all you have to do is copy the link and embed it into your email. What I see for loan officers is as someone who originated, as someone who was in the origination process for a bit, um, embedding these into your automatic emails that go out to your customers when a new milestone has hit. So let's say their file goes to processing, they've gotten their appraisal back, or they just went to underwriting, or they're pre approved. Explaining those things via video will typically be retained and require less from the loan officer. If you're explaining it in a video, it is so much easier for people to retain information from a video than it is from an email. Typically, they're scanning it and then they'll pick up the phone and call you. I know that. I lived it. Doesn't matter how many emails you send or how informative your emails are, they're typically still going to pick up the phone and call you for most people. So this is a really great way to add, not only help them retain information better as borrowers, because the mortgage process is complex, but also adding that personal touch. Wow, can you imagine receiving an email from your loan officer as a first-time home buyer saying, "Hey, guess what? Your file just went to processing. My processor, so and so, is going to reach out and she's going to be asking you for documentation." Instead of them sending the documentation to you, they're already thinking, okay, well, this new person that he introduced and CC'd on the email is going to be getting my information now. I know they're working together, so I can just, whatever she needs, or whatever she or he needs, I could just, push it over to them. So I
Mhm.
think that's a really, really great way to add some personalization to your everyday process and possibly make a little bit more time, add a little bit more time into your day. I know we love to hop on the phone and just walk through things occasionally, but you may be able to eliminate a few of those calls and make your borrowers feel a little bit better about the process by adding in that one step personal touch. If you're looking for a realtor to reach out to, you don't always have to call them. Why don't you send them a video? I think that would be
Mhm.
so much fun, especially if I were a realtor and someone sent me they texted me a video and it sent me to this page and they were just like, "Hey, checking in on you. Hope everything was great. I saw that. I'm glad that we closed that house last month. Let me know if you have anybody that has any questions. I'm happy to help. By the way, here's a new product that we're rolling out next month." So it's just a really quick way to touch with those people and add just a little extra personalization that it makes everyone feel like you've gone the extra step, and it's super duper simple. It takes all up together 5 minutes.
It's
um,
so easy. It's my
it's
favorite, and
so
I love
easy.
that it has your name on the page. So when you
Yeah,
click into the video, it either auto plays over text message, or if you're seeing it in the email, it has like a thumbnail, and you click into it, and it has a call to action button, which I've heard so much good feedback about because people are like, "I
yes,
can link my first time homebuyer guide. I can link calculators. I can," if you're giving a quick overview to a buyer about something, you can just say, "Hey, I've linked this resource below. Click below, and you can download it."
yeah.
It makes it so easy. And then what I tell people is I'm like, you don't have to redo this video every time either. Like if
No.
you're smart and you don't say the name, if you're just like, "Hey, it's so glad you reached out. I just wanted to mention really quick this calculator that you can use. I saw you had a question about this." Then you
Yep.
can send that video and you never have to record it again. But you could send it
Mm,
every time someone messages you and is like, "Oh, I'm really not sure about this one piece of this paperwork." You could just send that video. And then that
yeah,
took you 2 seconds instead of having to get on the phone and spend 20 minutes.
yeah.
And I think people are always impressed. They're like, "Oh, you didn't have to sit and record a video for me. That was so nice."
No
So
big
they see
deal.
it as more effort when really you're saving time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's how internally we're doing tutorials now. It's
Mhm.
just so much easier to log and maintain those,
Yes.
as opposed to, making a new tutorial or, sending out one that's on YouTube or something. So for us, it's
Totally.
working better as well. Internally, I
Yes.
can say it's working
Yes.
better as well. So, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I
Yeah.
love talking about MVP. We are sending out tutorials pretty much every day. So feel
Mhm.
free to reach out for some of those. And I'm excited to see where this leads into our next few steps of what
Yeah.
social coach is going to become. So stay
Me
tuned for
too.
those as well.
Oh, yeah, it's super fun, and I'll say the last thing I love about this too is you can track those clicks and those
Yeah.
views. So if you post on social and you get a little bit of like, "Okay, I'm seeing that people viewed it," but you're kind of like, "I wanna know who, and I wanna be more specific." You can take any of the videos that you have, you can upload your own videos, or like, let's say you have a edited video through Video
Mhm.
Catalyst, you could use that, take it, create a video page in 2 seconds and send that. And then you can see, oh, I sent it to 5 people. Well, 4 out of 5 of them watched the whole thing and one of them hasn't opened it at all. And then 2 of them clicked. And so that to me is also just a great way of kind of being more deliberate with how you're sending out your content, because it already exists. You've already taken the time to make all this stuff.
Yep.
So why not parse it out and send it out a bit more deliberately in newsletters and in direct texts? And hey, I was thinking about you, agents, like, hey, how can I support you this weekend at your open house? All of that, you can record one video, you can send it out, you can see who's seen it, who's clicked it. It's just invaluable. I just think this
Yeah.
is a really cool tool, and I'm
Well,
excited.
and I'll also say for our marketing admins that are at a corporate level, it's a great way to communicate and send content or relay a message to your internal team.
Yes.
I've got an admin right now who is knocking it out of the park with that. They've decided to pretty much forego long emails, and they're putting bullet points, and everything else is a video.
I love that. It's so much
I
more fun. And then you get to see the person and their face and their voice. And I just think it's a better way to communicate overall. Because
absolutely.
we all know no one's reading the email. Like, as you send it, you're like, no one's going to read this whole thing, but they will watch it and they'll listen.
I
And
hate, I hate to look at open rates.
yeah, I
It's
like open rates. It's the click rates at the bottom of the email
yeah.
that you're like, no one made it
Yeah,
this far. Sad, sad day. But the call to actions at the top, everybody, in videos and content, wherever it is, call to actions at the top.
always.
But yes. And then just quick, before we get into the trending videos that I promised, if you want more from us, you can follow us on socials. We post weekly video and social media tips. We have more resources on our blog. There's a lot coming from us, so feel free to follow us there. And then if you want our social media newsletter, I know a lot of people, they're like, oh, I missed some of your Tip Tuesday videos, or I missed some things because I'm not on social all the time. Well, we'll email them to you. So just comment Huddle to subscribe and we'll get you signed up. It sends out every 2 weeks. And it just has like more of those coaching tidbits from Joe, from myself, from the team. So just really quick there, wanted to give a quick plug so that anyone who wants those resources, we're here for you. Okay, now, I'm so excited. This is a new segment. I wanted to try this out and just see what people think. Because I feel like on bootcamp, a lot of people say, they're like, well, I don't know what to post. I don't have ideas. And they want to do the fun trending videos, but it feels intimidating to jump right in. And they're like, I don't know how to do that. So we're going to walk through. I pulled 4 from this week that I felt like were easy. And we're going to walk through and talk through how you're going to do these. So are you ready? Okay, we're ready. Okay. The first one, this one was so funny. I laugh every single time I see these. Basically, it's the Jaws theme. And so you can't hear this. And here, actually, I'm gonna switch over really quick. Actually, if I can do this. Sorry, I have too many screens up, y'all. I'm going to try to put this video on the stage here so you can hear it and see it. Okay, can we see this? Okay, there we go. So that's the video. So it's the Jaws theme. And all you have to do is walk back and forth in front of the camera a few times. And then if you want to speed it up to make it a bit more interesting to look at, you can. And then you just put text on the screen. So you just say, like, when I hear someone across the room mention that they need a loan officer or that they want to buy a house, but their credit score is too low. Like, you can make this so specific. And I bet you hear these complaints all the time. So you instantly probably had something in your head that's like, hey, what could I have said here? All you do is you put that text on screen, you record yourself walking back and forth, and you put the Jaws audio over top, and this is the video you're going to get. So definitely recommend this one. If you want for Video Catalyst for any of these, what you can also do is you can ask for specific things. So if you say, here's my walking back and forth video, can you add the Jaws theme song and then put this text on screen? And we can do it all for you. So if you're someone who's like, I really don't know how to do this, that's okay. We'll help you. So don't worry about it. But yeah, so that's number one. If you have questions there, let me know and we will answer them. But I'm seeing a couple comments here. If you aren't sure about how to sign up for the newsletter, just comment Huddle and we'll follow up with you. If you aren't a Social Coach user, go ahead and drop your email if you want, and we'll just sign you up right away. Or if you want, I know Sterling, like I got you, and we'll sign you up and we'll make sure you're
Already done, Sterling. Already done.
See, Alexis is on the back end as I'm going over. She's already signing people up. So anyone else who's there, if you're wanting to sign up, just comment Huddle and we will follow up with you. You can also DM us your email if you don't want to comment that. I definitely understand that. So you can message us that and we will get you signed up right away. But yeah, okay, so I'm curious. I hope comment Jaws if you're gonna try this one, because I really would love to see more people try this. I think it's a really fun one. But let's get to the next one because I have 4 for you guys. This is the second one, and I've titled it "Hanging Off a Cliff" because there's not really like a name for it. But here, let me pull up the example one again so you can see the full video. And we belong together. I think this is so funny. So
Okay,
essentially what
Lion
you're
King.
doing is you're putting your phone half underneath an elevated surface. So I tried this out, and I would not recommend a counter. It's kind of hard because if she's clearly on a countertop, like I feel like you can see that that's a cabinet or a dishwasher or something. But you want to put your phone on the floor, and then you're leaning out over the surface to look like, the gap is there. I would try a table, or I did my couch, and my couch worked super well where I could sit, you know, over the back of the couch and the phone was just on the floor underneath it. And then all you do is you just take a few seconds to look over down at the phone, and then you reach down, right, as if you're going to help somebody who's hanging off a cliff. And then you kind of go, actually, I don't know about that. And you add your personality, add some sass, and then you leave. And then when you put the text on the screen, you say either POV or you just say like, which, by the way, POV for non-writers means point of view. I think most of us know this, but I've assumed that before and been proven wrong. So point of view, right? Your friend is hanging off a cliff and you suddenly remember that they used another agent to buy their home. So you're like, oh, maybe I'll leave you here hanging off this cliff. Or if you have something more specific, right? When your friend is hanging off a cliff, or when your client's hanging off a cliff, but then they go buy a car before closing. You're like, oh, never mind. However it is, I would probably stick more to the one that doesn't make the client feel bad. But, it's funny. And I think people will be like, oh, that's me, my bad. So you can tailor this however you want. Same thing. You can use whatever audio. This one, I would just pick an audio that you like a song or a sound, something that's trending maybe. But it's really easy to just record this in 5-10 seconds and then just put the text on it, and then you're good to go. And again, you can send this into Video Catalyst if you want and just say, put this text on screen, use this song, or choose a fun song for me, and we'll do that for you. And it's so easy. I love these because they're just simple. And I just like to remind people that social media is meant to be fun. Video content can be fun, and it doesn't always have to feel like this big arduous task. It can be humor and entertainment and just have a good time. So this one's a bit more educational, and I put the video in for this one. So this one is a good way to kind of not have to be talking to the camera, but still giving some sort of tip or homebuyer fact. And so all you're going to say is, I wish more people knew. And you can just put this in text on screen and then record yourself doing something for 10, 15 seconds. The tip I'll give here, because I see the one issue I see where people try out, this is called B-roll, by the way. So B-roll is like, you're not actively talking to the camera. It's kind of like you're doing something that maybe the camera's there, maybe it's not, right? You're kind of acting like the camera's invisible and you're just going about your day. So when you're creating B-roll, I see a lot of people trying this, but the one thing you need to be aware of is you have to be doing something in the B-roll. Or I guess you don't have to. My tip would be do something in the B-roll that's visually interesting. You don't want to be doing anything so crazy that it's distracting from the text, right? So in this video, you can see, I'll replay it again. She's typing, but she's sped it up a little bit so the typing is a bit more active. And then she's cutting to show, oh, she's eating a little bit. Someone's walking behind her. There's motion on the screen to keep this interesting. So what I see a lot of people do is they'll have a B-roll of them typing at their desk or their computer, but then it's just a little bit boring to watch. And you're not going to stick around for the full 10 seconds unless you're still reading the thing on the screen. So what I always say is you can be typing, but maybe just reach over and grab something like how she eats, or you can act like you're picking up a phone call and be like, oh yeah, hi, first time home buyer, what's going on? And then you have the text above that people are reading, but they have something to watch that's actually happening. So it's not feeling like they're just staring at you while you sit still on your laptop for 10 seconds, because that's just not as entertaining, right? So that's something I feel badly, because I'm like, it's a hard thing to instinctually know. Like, you're not going to instinctually know that. So I'm not trying to shame anyone who's trying this. I'm just trying to give you a tip of, you may not think about it, but you should be doing something in the video. And something I love to tell people with that, doesn't have to be anything crazy. You could be unloading your dishwasher. You could be, wiping down a window. You could be, unlocking, if you're at an open house and you're fiddling with the lockbox and then you walk in the door. Like, it could be any of that. So yeah, you have to take the time to set up the shot of it. But then my favorite thing was with B-roll is if you take the time to record a bunch of those, let's say you get 10 different B-rolls that are 10 to 15 seconds long, or maybe even 30 seconds, just to give yourself more room. You have one at your desk, one at an open house, one pretending to call somebody, one outside. You can add text onto those forever, like different text, and then post the video. And then you can reuse the same footage of that film, add different text over it, and reshare it 2 months from now. No one's going to know. No one, like maybe someone will scroll back and be like, oh, that was the same B-roll. But to be honest, no one's really going to take the time to do that. So it's a great way of repurposing your content. But just again, make sure you're doing like small movements in there so that there's something to watch. So yeah, and then sorry, I kind of got off the trend there. I went way into B-roll in the weeds, but essentially my point here is record 30 seconds of yourself and then put text on top. And this works for so many things. I wish more people knew that doing this would help them achieve this. The one mistake that'll cost you X as a home buyer that I'll help you avoid. Read it in the caption. These are really easy. They don't take a lot of time, and you can still be delivering value in a way that makes people be like, oh, I didn't know that, or maybe I'm intrigued, and then they're going to go read the caption. And the thing I'll tell you, the reason why this works so well is because as people read it, and let's say this is a 5-10 second video, it's going to replay as they like take the time to reread this and be like, oh, wait, what's this say? And then if they go to the caption, because you say, hey, go look in the caption for the homebuyer tip I'm going to give you, they're going to pull up the caption and the video is still playing in the background as they're reading the whole caption. And so why that works is now your watch time, right? Because we talked about that earlier. You want that the longer watch time, and the more someone watches the full video, the better the video does, the more it gets pushed out to more people. If it's a 5-second video, but it takes people 15 seconds to read the caption, your video just got 3 views from one person. And that's going to say, oh, this person not only watched this video once, they watched it 3 times. This must be a really good video. And then if you have a call to action that you get them to comment, or you get them to DM you, or they share that video, that's only going to get the ball rolling even more. And so then the video is going to get pushed out by the algorithm. And then everyone who watches it 3 times over. Your views are going to be way higher. So shorter videos can be a hack for doing that. The one thing I'll say is, you can do all videos just like this and never do anything else. Great. But I would try to intersperse more of those longer form educational stuff in between these. So using this as the hook, getting people to your profile, and then having them say, oh, and then if they see, oh, you're answering questions and you posted a good homebuyer tip and other things, that's when you're going to get that follow, because they're going to go, oh, okay, like they're really knowledgeable. They're giving a lot of info. I want to stick around. Let me know if anyone has questions about that. I know that was a lot. It looks like we've got a comment over here on Instagram, Randy. Glad to see you, Randy. He said that these are really great ideas. So I'm glad that these are resonating and people are liking them. So let's move on to our last one. If I can click away from this video, here we go. And this is the last one. So this is based off a trend that was called like, God forbid a girl have a hobby, which is so funny to me. And so it was basically someone it was a girl who I think her friend criticized her. And it's like, why are you always so obsessed with this? Or why are you always talking about this? And she was just like, oh, well, goodness forbid a girl have a hobby. And I just thought that was really funny. And I've seen people really taking this to a new level. So the way you want to use this one as a trend is you want to share that criticism, like something that someone says where they don't, either a misunderstanding, why are you always talking about improving credit tips if you're a loan officer? You go, oh, well, because, and then you can put the answer either on screen or in the caption. So this person, I liked how she took this. She said, you're always giving advice for free, which I'm sure a lot of you are like, yes, I do this all the time. I'm on calls, I'm whatever. And then she says, goodness forbid, I actually want people to understand the process, the mortgage process, before signing their life away. And that's just like a great way to say, hey, she's empathetic. She's here to educate. She's not just trying to get you to push and sell and sign something. So she did this really well. But you could do this with so many different ideas of different ways to add this text. You could say, it's not having been like, you're always talking about mortgage rates, or it's weird that you always pick up your phone even at 10 p.m. Or why are you so obsessed with down payment assistance programs? Like, you can make this as much about mortgage or real estate or whatever your niche topics are, or you could have it be client feedback. You could have it be, what your kids tell you, what your family says. It can just be relatable. So the one thing I'll say is I think the things that do better are when you make them relatable to your clients, not so much about yourself. I don't know, like, how do I explain this better? sometimes people use these trends and they focus them around the loan officer or real estate experience. And what I sometimes see is that those don't get as much engagement because it's only loan officers and real estate agents who are seeing and sharing it, because they're like, oh, yes, relatable to me. If you're having, the struggle with the lockbox or whatever, it's like, yes, every agent knows what you're talking about, but clients don't really, because they don't see that. And you try to hide that from them, right? You don't want them to see that you're struggling with the lockbox. So they're not going to find it funny. They're not going to share. And maybe that video then helps you make more connections with referral partners, but it's not bringing in more clients, and it's not bringing new people to your page that are clients. So that's where I would just think about, if you're going to do trends like this, try to think about like, ooh, what am I hearing from my clients, or what would my clients find relatable? Not just things that you and your peers would find relatable. I think those are great. I'm not saying don't do those ever. You can even do 2 versions, right? I'll always tell people that. I'm like, do a version that's like the funny, relatable mortgage one, and then do another version that's more client facing, and then kind of compare those and see. So all of that is good content, but it's something to keep in mind, where sometimes I see people doing these and then they're like, oh, but I didn't get as much like client engagement as I wanted. And I'm like, well, because you did something that isn't relatable to the client. Like, this doesn't apply to them. It applies to other loan officers. So that's just something to be keeping in mind. But yeah, these are all really easy, like should take you maybe like 5 minutes tops to record. And that's being very generous. But if like you set up your station, you do your B-roll, you record a couple seconds of footage, and then these should be like 10-second videos that just loop. And hopefully that'll get you you'll have fun with it, and it'll get you some bonus engagement and extra views, because they're trending, they're short, and so they'll get those extra watch time. And yeah, so if you are watching and you're going to try one of these, let me know which of these trends you're going to try. There was Jaws. There was this Goodness Forbid, or the hobby one, I guess you could call it. There was the I wish more people knew kind of B-roll one. And then, of course, the that's the same one, the hanging off a cliff, which I just have to show because I'm like, I feel like no one knows what I'm talking about unless I'm showing the visual. Hanging off a cliff. So those are fun ones. Let me know. This will be on YouTube. So if you realize later that you're like, I wanted to do those trending ones and I don't know where to find those again, this whole recap will be on YouTube. You can subscribe and find it there. But yeah, if anyone has any questions, we will take those now. I haven't seen many coming through, so hopefully I didn't go too quickly for anybody. But yeah, that's our session for this month. We're here to help, and boot camp does start next Wednesday on it's always at 12 p.m. Pacific. So if you want to sign up for that, you can comment boot camp and we'll reach out with the registration link. We'd love to join. And yeah, we're going to hang around for a second or two, because there is a lag with the comments. So they're just hearing probably me asking if anyone has questions. So it's always that funny thing where we're sitting here on live going like, like waiting. But we'll just give it a minute to see if any questions come through. And if not, thanks to everyone who's stuck around, and we'll catch you later. Catch you on socials. I always say that. Brandon always laughs at me. It's on socials, and they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "But I do, because I stalk all of you. I see all that. I love the content. I'm commenting on it." So
you do. Yeah, I only hear when something's gone wrong. So I love to hear it. I love when you send me a video. Say, "Look how good this one is."
Yeah, see, that's our favorite. I love sending all the content that we see and just being like, "Oh, this was a fun user video." We love seeing all the creativity from everyone. So it's always great. Okay. Right. I'm not seeing any more come through. So a reminder, you can sign up for our newsletter by commenting Huddle, subscribe to the YouTube, and find us on all the social platforms for more tips every week. We have a lot of resources on our blog. So if you go to our website, it is in our Instagram bio, and you can find our website and find our blog. There's a lot of resources there. And otherwise, we'll see you guys on socials. So I'm going to use my sign off. Awesome. Oh, and we have one comment. I'll share this really quick before we leave, saying that this was super helpful. Randy saying great stuff. So thank you, everyone who tuned in. I'm so glad this was helpful. We appreciate you being here, and would love to hear feedback, or if you guys do, reminder of that content idea. If you post any of the trending videos that we shared, or if you want to post your top takeaway from today's session and tag us, we'd love to see that. And we'd just love to hear what you guys find most useful, so we can keep creating content and resources that are beneficial for you guys. So thanks so much, and have a good rest of your day, and see you guys on socials. for the third time. Okay, bye.
Bye, guys.